AJ Fernandez Cigars, makers of the San Latano, one of the most talked about cigars in recent years, is now offering a groundbreaking line extension, the San Latano Bull. The San Latano Bull features an extensively aged and hardy core of Nicaraguan long fillers nestled beneath an attractive Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. Housed in a cedar sleeve which depicts the outline of a bull, only solidifies this cigar as a full-flavored cigar. Removing the sleeve reveals a box-pressed cigar with a beautiful, oily, and smooth chocolate brown wrapper. The San Latano Bull burns nice and neat as it issues columns of smoke, hitting you with a wall of spice, followed by leather and cedar. This densely packed cigar intensifies in deep, rich flavors and becomes a flavor bomb halfway through, only getting better with each passing draw. Strong yet smooth and perfectly balanced, AJ Fernandez, who many have called a tobacco prodigy, has somehow pushed the already spectacular San Latano line of cigars forward with the Bull. AJ Fernandez challenges you to take on the Bull, Cigar Snob's number 8 cigar of the year for 2014. From the makers of the number 1 cigar in the U.S. in 2013, the Aging Room Quattro F55 comes yet another highly rated cigar, the Aging Room Bin Number 1. The Aging Room Bin Number 1 is a full-bodied Dominican cigar with some of the world's oldest tobacco on the market today, from the harvests of 1997, 98, and 99. The Aging Room Bin Number 1 starts out smooth and builds up in strength and flavor until it reaches its full potential. The Aging Room Bin Number 1 is for the true cigar connoisseur looking for a sophisticated smoking experience with balance, complexity, and character. Aging Room Cigars. Blending is in our DNA. Saga Cigars, makers of the Saga Golden Age. The Golden Age is a cigar that takes you back to the classic days of cigar smoking. Through the 6 generations of experience by the Reyes family, the Saga Golden Age delivers a timeless blend that uses the nobility of the tobacco to bring you the perfect balance of power and flavor. It narrates better than words the history of a family's tradition in tobacco, delivering a cigar much like the ones they used to smoke in the times of Hemingway. Saga Golden Age is a full-bodied, full-flavored Dominican Puro. With tobaccos from one farm, the blend features a Corojo 2006 wrapper and filler from original Cuban seeds grown in the Dominican Republic. Available in 4 sizes at an affordable price, the Saga Golden Age is sure to please and take you back on a journey to yesteryear. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geeks show. That's right, this is our Stogies of the Week segment. This is awesome. This is one of our most popular segments where we talk about the cigars that we've been smoking and we review all of them. I'm told some people listen to this segment do with like a paper and a pen and they take notes about what cigars to buy. That was really the goal for this segment, so I'm really excited to talk about what we've been smoking. Stogie Santa.
Stogie Santa is the man.
Has joined us in studio as always.
And I'm a big Santa fan too, so you know.
But there's only one Stogie Santa.
There's only one Stogie Santa.
There's only one Stogie Santa.
The one and only.
You know, if you Google image search for Stogie Santa, you find this line of Christmas products. Have you seen this? It's like a reindeer and a Santa, and the Santa's smoking. And then you also find pictures of Mark, which is really funny. Have you done that?
I did that.
Oh, I found it. I did.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
I
it.
want to see a Stogie stand on the beach when I did that. That's the best one
This
yet.
is a story you told last week.
Oh my God, Stogie Santa on the
Anyway,
beach.
let's
That's
get
an
to that
epic
Hi,
story.
buddy.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
So
let's
we're
get
smoking
to it.
we're smoking Nick cigars, and they're awesome, dude.
Glad you guys
Finishing my
enjoyed it.
Churchill, and I
I'm
can't wait to
telling
go
you,
to my
it's-
Corona.
I'm not putting this thing down.
Dude, you get the Stogie Santa seal of approval.
I'm
Mike
honored.
Bellatti's here enjoying your cigars.
I got to tell you, before we get into the cigars of the week, I get asked everywhere I go pretty much for Cuban cigars. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I didn't mean to go there.
No, you did.
No, I get asked literally, when you're not smoking your own cigar, what do you smoke? This will be an answer for me now. This is a really great cigar.
The Wednesday coming. That's I intended
Resounding
it to be
endorsement.
a nub. You want to smoke
Yeah.
it right
Yeah,
down
dude, like
the
I'm getting
nub.
on the end of this Churchill, and it's still I was
Yeah.
going to say that it's smoking.
The only thing I want to bring forward to people before we get the Stogies of the Week, as a retailer, I ask this for anyone, not just Nick Cigars, everybody's, is that what you do is buy a line sampler, because I may whatever I may fall in love with in your Vitola, buy the whole line sampler first.
Yep.
Because if whatever you may like,
We'll talk about that too in this segment.
okay, that's so important.
Yeah.
Buy
Size
the whole-
matters, dude.
It does. But buy the whole line sampler and determine for yourself, not what Nick likes, Mike likes, or Paul,
Definitely.
or what you like. So just keep that in mind when you do
good
the cigar.
advice.
It really is, seriously, and a very serious point. And this cigar is just like
Yeah.
my lamp. Anyway,
Will, let's
Enough of
turn it
that.
over to you to talk about your first Stogie of the week.
I'm looking at these pictures though of the Stogie Santa reindeer. It reminds me of him with that lifeguard on the beach. He's all-
That's an epic
I'll
story.
tell Nick after.
I have to see that picture.
All right. So I think
They took a picture, but Stogie Santa, like in The Godfather, like threw the camera on the ground and smashed it,
Yes.
and then like ripped off like 50s on the ground.
Yeah,
All right,
you don't want
let's
to.
get to the point.
He's now my hero.
No, you're my hero.
This is a great. We got an all-star team here.
You
really
know what,
do.
Nick? You're my Lajero.
Now, when I talked about the gay outfit, do you understand what I'm talking about?
You had me at
I got us
Leonardo.
on a.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
That's yeah,
No,
you know.
I like gay.
Are you declaring this on air now?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm anything.
What segment was this?
We're losing control.
This is my fault.
This is
This is
Studio
about the
G.
This is about the time this happens on this broadcast.
Okay, let's keep
time
it
is it?
focused.
All right.
All right.
Very serious now. This is now Don
So-
Lemon from CNN. Okay.
Are we not on the air? Are we on the air?
Yeah.
Will,
I see
take control,
green
kid.
over there on Stogie. Got it.
Look. He's got a straight face. Look at that face. Look at this face.
He's trying to deliver a Stogie of the week to him, and he can't. He's like,
Back with Matt Booth and Robert Colwell.
He's like, I can't even like transition from the silliness into
I know.
Stogies of the week. Welcome to my world, Will.
Yes.
Exactly. So we talked about, actually, at the beginning of the show, Paul mentioned this may be the shortest or the smallest cigar ever reviewed on Stogie Geeks.
Yes, I've seen lots of pictures on Facebook of Gabriel and Grace smoking the cigar.
Yeah, and it was, in fact, it was Gabe. I actually, I was down in Chattanooga, and I hung out with Gabriel for a good chunk of the weekend. He's a great guy, by the way. And, you know, we've talked a lot about Florida Silver, and he asked me, have you ever tried the Petite? And I said, basically, I told him no, because much like people hate big ring gauge cigars, I hate cigarillos. I don't like them, right?
And this is a true. What is the size on this cigar, Will?
It is a 3.5 by 20.
Wow.
But the story with this cigar was a little bit interesting to me. It's a Honduran Puro with a Connecticut shade wrapper from Talanga. But Gabriel was telling me that this cigar was made with 3 leaves: a wrapper, a binder, and a filler. So it's
And
actually
all long filler.
all long filler.
What's the ring gauge again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
3.5 by 20.
By 20.
By
Wow.
20.
Wow.
Yep.
Holy mackerel.
Dios
Yep.
mio.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of Stogie Santa in everybody, huh?
This is all. Do we have? Does anybody have one of these?
What's in this Fiji water?
Fiji, man.
I actually got one. I'd have to reach over and grab it, but
That doesn't help us.
yeah.
Now you know how-
But there is a picture in the feed. It was actually a very good cigar, and I'm not a big cigarillo fan. It's not going to make me smoke a cigarillo, but creamy cigar. It's got that. I talked about that Honduran marshmallowy sweetness that this line tends to bring to the table. You get some of that. You get some cedar flavors. Burned really well. I mean, it just burned like a champ. I think I lit the thing once, and it just burned nice and slow and the rest of the way. You can get a 10-pack of these for like $15. It's worth a $5. It's worth a $5 in my book. It was,
How long did it take you to smoke this one, Will?
maybe about 10 to 15 minutes.
Gotcha.
Marshmallow Honduran. That's interesting.
Well, and and this line is pretty unique with the sweetness that this thing brings to the table.
Have you had have you guys had to try the Flor de Silva?
Yes.
I haven't.
I have not.
I have.
Did you like it? I like the Flor de Silva line.
Yeah, and I think, Paul, if you like the Florida Silva line, you will like this cigar.
Flor de Silva is made in Honduras.
Honduras.
Yeah. I'll have to try it.
Yeah,
I actually got
Silva.
They're big.
Sauvignon
They're
you
big
will.
in Europe, similar to Ask Grabby Grabby. They're big in Europe, and I don't mean to compare them to Ask Grabby Grabby. You've answered the 5 questions, Nick. I,
have,
didn't ask
yeah.
you because you've already answered them.
Yeah. I know.
Yes.
Oh, there's the cigar right there.
Good
Okay.
Lord. It's
Wow.
yeah,
That is a cigarillo.
that is
Yeah.
a cig. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, most cigarillos have not. I mean, I know Davidoff's into the market, and most of them just have not impressed me. This was not bad. Like I said, for a $5, I'd go for a 5 of these. I just don't know if it would make me want to smoke a cigarillo, but I think if you like one and you want something mild, it's a good cigar.
well. How does it? And I hate to compare it to other brands, but I'm going to make it compare it to other brands. How does it compare to the Davidoff Primeros that just came out, and how does it compare to L'Atelier? Just came out with the animal cracker
and the I can't even pronounce.
what's the other one? Their other line
what the
Travelers.
La
Travelers.
Travelers
Whatever.
in the cigar. How does it compare to those?
But they're not. You can't call those cigarillos.
Those are more petite Coronas than they
No.
are.
They're more-
even-
that's what I was going to say. They're more short cigars. Davidoff does make some cigarillos.
I got you.
Yeah, they do.
They've made those for a long time.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's next?
I used to smoke those Hoyt de Monterrey, the little tin ones.
Yeah,
Back in the day, those were beautiful for a small.
going
little,
way
they're
back.
like in the
Yeah,
20
no,
Well,
count
a lot of
tin.
the people
Oh, what
say,
the
"Well, I
hell were
got
they
you some
called?
Cuban cigars," and they bring back cigarillos, and you're like, "It's just not a full cigar experience." So, how did this? One of the things I like about like the Debonair First Degrees
Yeah.
is
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
small cigar, but it
Love that
smokes
smoke.
like a big cigar. You know, it smokes like a regular size cigar.
Yeah.
How did that compare smoking characteristics? Will?
Well, it really smoked like it was true to the Florida Silver line. So that's why I was surprised by it. Where sometimes I just smoke these things and I get I get some cedar, I get wood, and I don't get much else. Right, but I got some nice sweetness with this, and then some of the spice came in the second half with it, and it was a lot like the core Florida Silver line. It just in a very small format.
Stogie Santa, do you sell a lot more of these Primeros or cigarillos in
do.
the wintertime?
Not cigarillos. I don't sell a thing.
No.
No.
But you some of the petite Coronas
Yeah, things like that. Yeah,
sell better in the winter.
they really do. Northeast.
In the
we-
Northeast, yeah.
Right.
Sometimes they're nice when you're going out.
In the
have
car,
a,
or, yeah.
have a nice little tin.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
right.
You can't. You're at an event or something.
You don't want to
wanna have
deviate
a
from the
smoke.
event for an
Yeah.
hour to go
Tins,
smoke a
what were the name of
Robusto.
Yeah.
those?
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
they're
oh,
definitely. They have to be around that size.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. They were. I can't think of the name of them.
But I haven't had one in
Long time.
years. But I actually used to grab a pack of those a lot.
I know
And,
Punch makes some cigarillos, and
do
I'd
they?
go for this one over the Punch ones.
Okay.
So
Haven't had a punch in a while.
Yeah.
I smoked the complete opposite. I mean, this is a big cigar. Nat Sherman 85th.
Oh,
What's the
I heard
size?
that.
What's the size, Will or Stogie Santa? You know what the size in this? It's a pretty big cigar.
I don't know offhand.
It's a
I
pretty
don't
looking
want.
smoke.
I don't want to miss. I don't
It's
want
like
to
a large Churchill, I would call it.
Yeah, they I got the
7 by
size
50, maybe 7 by 48. I don't know.
6.5 by 54.
Six
okay.
and a half by 54.
Yep.
Now, I guess my expectations were pretty high with this Nat Sherman
After the
because
Joel
of
Sherman?
the Joel Sherman
Which was
it's an
great
Oasis level cigar
cigar.
that we
I
rated here on the
enjoyed
show. This one was not Oasis level rated. It was a good cigar. I wouldn't say it's a bad cigar.
No, I agree.
It seemed like it needed some time.
So this isn't the one that comes in that beautiful piano style
No,
package.
no,
This
no.
is the
This is the
The
new-
packaging.
85th.
Mike brought up a good point. It was really a great.
First one in a long time, by the way.
It was almost like a magnetic cover.
The,
Okay.
the
Oh,
really?
seal of
The
the cigar
seal
box
was
was
phenomenal.
unlike anything.
It was It was one of the most innovative packaging I've seen.
La Polina?
No,
this
no,
is the
no.
85th
Sure.
by
The
Nat Sherman.
85th.
Fifth does this because La Polina's doing something with that too. I
It was
noticed.
almost like a.
But it wasn't magnet well.
It was almost like a magnet. Like you had to pull it up. It was almost
I
like
think
a
it was the
force to it.
hinges.
Huh.
Something
the
in
hinges sort of snapped closed.
I
It's
haven't seen the
really
box. I
neat.
love the box they did.
Yeah,
for
the box. They
uh,
did a great job with the
yeah.
box.
And I
Looking at
smoked
the box.
that other
The Joel Sherman.
the Joel Sherman.
Joel Sherman was
I-
a cereal bready. It was very nice.
Yeah, I enjoyed that smoke. Michael Herklocks gave me one of those,
Oh,
and
it's great.
I think
cigar.
last year's show or
Yeah.
Yeah.
or,
Yeah, last year. Yeah, that's when it
I
came out.
really enjoyed that smoke. So this one, do you know what the wrapper filler combination is on this one? by
It's
any
a
chance?
Dominican wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and filler, but they haven't disclosed more about that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Looks
I mean,
like a pretty smoke.
this was a fiver in my book. Like, I'd buy 5, I'd smoke one now, and then I'd put the rest of the 4 away to kind of age and see what they do. Overall, it didn't really. I guess I was comparing it to the Joel Sherman, dude, because the Joel Sherman was Oasis level. So when they said we're coming
right out of the box,
right out of the box, and when they said they're coming to 85th, I'm like, all excited.
Because Joel Sherman, I came back from the show. A lot of people looked at me like cross-eyed.
I did too.
Yeah, but they all did because, having someone in the panel like Nick, who has more experience than anybody that we can, right here on this table anyway, is that you don't have to have that big bold spiciness. It's just a refreshing change. It really was. It was a mild, medium smoke, and to deliver that message like that was really
this cigar was
something else.
Totally different characteristics.
It really is. And the fiver is a good reading.
Yeah, because it's not a bad. I don't
It's
try to
not
knock a
horrible
cigar.
by
No.
any means. It's a try one for me. For me, it's a try one.
I'm
Gotcha.
definitely have to try one.
Will, what was your rating on the Nat Sherman 85th? Have you smoked this one yet?
I have not smoked it yet.
No,
I do
okay.
have it. I had Stogie Santa send it to me, but
Tell
on
him
some
to lay it
advice,
down.
I'm giving it some age. I laid it down.
Laid it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it will morph into a fiver.
Will, back to you.
We talked about this cigar last week. I know Stogie Santa brought it up when we were doing Stogies a week. It is the Protocol
Yes.
by Cubaraqueño Cigar Company. What,
Killed it.
so what you need to know about these
Mike
guys?
said he needs another cigar, Nick.
Real great.
Sorry, I'm just giving away all Nick's cigars, Will. Sorry.
Oh, I'm telling you, this is
Grab one of
epic.
those.
This is epic.
It's a real treat.
It
to see
truly
him. We're
is.
sitting here smoking more Nick's cigars.
And I haven't had one of these.
I'll tell you
Glad
what.
to
Hey,
see you
Coop, you
enjoying.
haven't had one of these?
No.
Too bad.
I know what my cigar of the week is.
Coop, you got to send me your address so I can send you
I will.
some.
I will.
Coop, I'm telling you, wait. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So the Protocol is this company is actually working with La Zona. Folks may know of the two guys behind this company. It's Juan Cancel and Bill
Yeah.
Al-
Yep.
Man,
Two-
Juan.
Wow.
Yeah.
and they are big on social media. And I think sometimes, in fairness, I think sometimes you don't want a cigars made by guys on social media. It's not taken seriously.
It's a
This
great
is a-
point. Coop, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's a great point. It really is. It seriously is.
Yeah. But you got La Zona making it.
Yeah.
Those guys down there those are some serious tobacco guys. I mean, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm really hoping to try it.
They were very, very humble, these guys, too, in terms of their cigar. I don't think they were trying to say it's the greatest cigar of all time. They even kind of said to me, hey, if we don't sell this cigar, we have a cigar we really like and enjoy, and we'll keep it for ourselves. I think they started out very small. The blend is a cool blend. It's a Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper, Nicaraguan Habano binder, and it's got quadruple Ligero, they were telling me in this, from Jalapa and Esteli. I smoked both the Toro and the 5 5/8 by 46 Corona Gorda. I would definitely advise going the Corona Gorda if you're going to smoke this.
That's the one I got.
Yeah, and the Toro's good. I said the Toro's a fiver. This one's a box split. And great sweetness on this cigar. A little bit of notes of chocolate. I call that baker's spice note that you get. So it's more of a sweeter thing. It's got some body to it. It's a full-bodied cigar. I mean, when you kind of retrohale that thing, it's going to weigh nice on your palate. And it's got a little bit of a nicotine kick, too, on that Corona Gorda.
What you get in a retro hail on that?
Little bit of the cedary and a little pepper, kind of. There was a little bit of, again, I got a little bit of sweet component in there, but there was definitely some spice on that retrohale. It didn't knock me down. What did you get?
I didn't get the sweetness as much as you did. I got the pepper, and I thought, I'll tell you what, that was on Zengi's. He told me about it, and I got one from a listener, and I'll tell you what, I was mildly impressed. It was a good smoke. It really was. It's solid.
Yeah.
I only did one, so you just don't want to go
I've done
overboard
4 of
to
them.
one.
I've done 4 of them, 2 of each of the sizes, and I definitely, like I said, I'd say the Toro is more of a fiver, and I'd say the Corona Gorda is a box split.
The Corona Gorda is what I had, and I was pretty well impressed with that.
It was Eric did a really nice job with that. I heard Eric kind of took a hands-on approach. He wanted to make sure these guys had a good blend.
Yeah.
And they did. They got one.
Awesome.
So I want to turn over to Nick.
Yes.
We talked about your cigars.
Yes.
But I know you're a Stogie geek at heart.
Definitely.
So what have you been smoking lately that sticks out in your mind? That's not yours,
That's
cigar.
not mine.
We've already established your cigars are really good. So, and this Corona really amped it up in strength and body too. It's great.
Yeah, the
offering
Corona
a lot.
I
Yeah.
actually blended to be a little bit, depending
like
on the
that.
ring gauges,
Yeah.
you can really change things and go different directions. So the Corona, I like my Coronas
It was
a
good.
little
I'm
bit
glad I
step.
did the Churchill first, and then the Corona.
How's
Good
that
transition.
smoking?
Phenomenal.
Well? Great. To be honest with you, I've been smoking just through this whole process. I've been smoking nothing but really my
Yours. You
stuff.
have to.
Unfortunately, I didn't get time to really smoke much at the show, and I got a lot of great cigars from different people, but I just was sort of overwhelmed. Trying to think of something. I smoked Steve Saka's new Sobre Mesa, which is coming out, which was definitely beautiful. He's working with Hoya de Nicaragua. That definitely is one to look out for. What else did I smoke? I didn't smoke Patrick Vivelo's. Vivelo. I'm sorry, Patrick. I have it in my humidor. It looks beautiful, so I'm looking forward to smoking that one. I'm trying to think what else I've been smoking.
The question I got for you, Nick,
Yeah.
when you blend cigars
Yeah.
for your new line, most importantly, what Vitola do you smoke to actually zero in
Good question.
to say that's what I want?
I'm giving away all my secrets, but always 6x52 has always been my cigar of choice throughout the years. I've definitely moved down the line to Corona Gordas. That's becoming my size of preference personally. But when I start in the blending process, I usually start at 6x52. To me, that's the middle point, really, of all the ring gauges. So I like to start in that middle point and then expand out from there. But again, there's so many different ways you can take different vitolas in the blending process. You can keep them all as consistent as possible, or you can do it the old school way and sort of blend them a little bit differently. So as you can tell, the Corona I made a little bit stepped up, but tried to keep it, within that range. So it's
Nice.
It's not completely different, but
And what about you, Stogie Santa? What have you? Something that stuck out in your mind?
I would say Robusto, Toro type of range, and then it gives you more tobacco to work with.
Yeah, in the larger ring gauge. It's a great
gives
point.
you- and then you can get that ratio to bring it down to like a Corona. I love Corona. I like smaller ring size.
Coronas
I just
are
really do.
great.
It really is. And
Have you smoked anything from anyone else that sticks out in your mind?
this
lately?
year,
No,
I'll
lately?
tell you I'm not a good Frenchman. La Mission or La Mission.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, we reviewed
the
that show. That was
Robusto
good.
on that.
Yep.
I really enjoyed. Very much so. It was a medium to full body smoke. I think the Pepin family and Tatawahe, the whatever you want to, that factory did a great job on that smoke. I was
They're
impressed
doing
with
some
that.
great- yeah, they're doing
that, and the Racine that he did, the Lonsdale, if I'm correct in that size.
Yeah, Solonzo.
That's something that was long awaited. I think that was in reverse order, in my opinion. That is a home run to
have
me.
you smoked the Indian tobacco?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't smoked it yet.
Yes, I'll tell you what. I don't want to reveal my opinion, to be honest with you, because
I think Phil's purposely not let that out to a lot of people so far.
No.
I mean, well, not because I'm not saying because it's not, but he's
No.
he's keeping it to a very small, small.
I'll tell you something. There's another one that come out of the box. I'm going to tell you what. I think the Habano that he did was out of this world.
Yeah.
And I think most people are going to gravitate. I think Maduro is great. I think Habano is it's just in my wheelhouse. It really is.
I think in the line he has out now, I tend to gravitate towards the lighter wrapper and not the Maduro.
I'm the Maduro guy. I'm the
Okay, I'll reveal out of the box. I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be reverse order for you, Coop. This is a Stogie Geeks exclusive. I think you're going to switch it up. I really think you're going to switch it up.
For our listeners, he's usually not wrong.
No, I'm
Right
wrong.
on
I'm
me.
wrong all the time.
Not disagreed on things. But
I
no,
think Phil did a great job. We all the bells and whistles and hoops that can go through. I think the Habano. It's just something special to me. I really enjoy that smoke. It really is. It's something special.
Mike, what about you? Smoking anything outside of your own line? You're really enjoying Nick's. Nick's
I
cigar.
am. I've been blending a new cigar, so I've been smoking a lot of my own stuff.
Yeah.
But
What are you working on?
I got.
You're stealing my
I'll tell
questions
if you
now.
tell.
No, I tell you what. He's gonna go ahead, Mike.
So I've been smoking some test blends and so forth. I smoke a lot of cigars. I go back to a lot of the old favorites. I don't, unless somebody gives me a new cigar, tells me about a new cigar.
Yeah.
I don't really
I need
venture
to
out of
get
my
some
wheelhouse.
of your cigars.
I got plenty for you.
He gives them away on the show all the time.
Yeah, no. Listen, I
You'll
think
get a 5-pack of Mike's and a 5-pack of Nick's.
I'd love to smoke some.
yeah, I would love to have some with
Where are
you.
you
Yeah.
making them?
Quesada Cigars makes them
Oh,
for me.
nice. Great.
Yeah,
Great.
so-
Great people.
It's good
Awesome.
stuff.
Great
We
to
smoked
work
them on the
with.
show last week. It's good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, and every Stogie Geeks listener's got one now, I think.
Yeah. He's sending them to everyone who writes in.
My
Hey, I
sales
wanna
went
try
down.
Mike's cigar.
Sales dropped because everyone got free cigars.
No, but it's a great point. What Nick was saying is that when you're coming out with something new, you have to. What other reason? Not other reason. What other way could you go? You have to critique everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really do.
I'll give you a cigar I've smoked. I occasionally I'll just pop into a cigar shop and there's an event going on. I don't know there's an event going on. I always feel like I should buy a box of the cigars that they're selling because it's kind of the right thing to do, I think. But I was in San Antonio a few months back and I walked into the Club Humidor and there was an event going on, a cigar I'd never heard of. So I told him the type of cigar I tend to smoke and he said, you should try this blend right here. And I bought it. It was a cigar called Southern Draw.
it's a good.
great
Paul,
name. Great
Paul,
name.
those are coming your way.
Oh, okay, good.
Never tried
I just
it,
sent
but-
those to
I
you.
believe
Yeah.
they're made by AJ Fernandez.
Yes.
For
yep.
him.
They're good
And
cigars.
I have to tell you, I smoke them regularly now. I mean,
Nice.
you can't get them anywhere up here that I know of yet. But great cigar, very well made. Packaging's good,
Yeah.
but a lot of good flavor.
I
Yeah.
tried a hidden sleeper cigars, FQ cigars.
Never tried.
It's this kid Matthew Hunt. He lives in Florida. I actually met him in Nicaragua one day. Happened to be visiting same tobacco supplier. Young kid, really passionate about the industry, and he's really getting into it. And he gave me a couple of his cigars, and they were really nice.
It's a great time to be a cigar smoker. I mean,
Oh,
there's
it
a lot
is.
of
It
great
is.
cigars out
And,
there.
I'll say this one last time. The hell with the Cubans. This is so much.
There we go. This is where it goes.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm going to say it out there. I'm not saying I don't smoke Cubans. That's not my point. Listeners, listen to me, please. There's so much good tobacco out there.
Absolutely.
Well, I thought you could buy. Can't you buy those legally now?
That's
And
not the
Mr.
point.
J's, I think.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honest to God, please don't get fixated on this. Just don't. Just please don't.
So, Will, Villiger came out with a new line of cigars, and you wrote an article about this on the cigar-coop.com website. It's the Sandoro, and they released it in 3 different wrappers. Can you kind of just recap that line for us?
Well, yeah, they what they did is Villiger, it was part of our IPCPR trade show coverage that we had, and they've announced a new line. It's called Sandoro. They debuted it at the show, and they're doing 3 blends in that. They're doing a Claro, which I think you're going to talk about in a minute, which is an Ecuadorian.
Is that a Connecticut wrapper?
That's the Connecticut. Then they did a Colorado, which is a Nicaraguan Habano. And those 2 are being made at Tabacalera Oliva in Nicaragua. They did a 3rd line called the Sandoro Maduro, but they're making that out of Brazil. Villiger owns a factory in Brazil, and that's actually going to be a Brazilian Puro. They're going to be a higher priced line too. They're going to be over $10. So
I know this one. Yeah. So all 3 of them are a little higher priced line.
I have not smoked these yet.
So I smoked the Sandoro Claro, the Connecticut. I smoked it in the morning. I bought it from a local shop here in Rhode Island. And it was just, Stogie Santa has a great way of explaining it that we use on the show all the time. It's a cigar that didn't know what it wanted to do with itself, somewhat unbalanced, and it really didn't. I don't know if it needed age. I think some age will definitely help it kind of make up its mind as to what it wants to do. It had some of the components that could be, a good morning smoke. But as it's smoking now, it just wasn't a good. It wasn't a good morning smoke for me. I rated it an Angler. Actually, this was in the Robusto size. It was just. It had too much of that. Like we were talking before, like the oil and water when you had the Connecticut. Like the binder and the filler just didn't meld well with the wrapper, in my opinion. And it's because I could get some of that like sweetness off the wrapper, but it was hard to pick out from kind of those more bold flavors that it had in the filler.
What's the combination they're using? Did they say with the filler?
What's the you wrote this up in your blog, Will? I don't know if you have it handy, but what's Sorry, Stogie Santa just lost his cigar. How do you lose a cigar? I mean, I can see losing your phone.
¿Dónde está Santa Claus? The guy with the hair on his jaw.
No. How the fuck?
Lost his cigar.
He did.
The guy
The
with the bone.
studio's on fire.
He's gonna roll over it with his chair soon too.
No, I don't want to roll over. It's fucking. How the fuck I lose
Hopefully we're not all on
Did you leave it in the ashtray in the bathroom? You just went to the bathroom?
No, I pissed on my shoes. It was right here. You cocks. Come on. Give me a cigar.
The production is
You want another cigar. After you told me I can't have
I'm
one,
dead serious.
all hands on deck.
Don't play with me like this.
I didn't know.
I left it right there.
You burned the tablecloth with it. It left evidence.
I know.
Dios mío.
This is unbelievable. I'm serious.
How did you lose it?
It must have rolled that way.
I had to roll this way.
I got my shoes off. I'm going to burn my
If you
feet
stepped
now.
on it, you burn
We
your...
got 4 people in the studio looking for his
No,
cigar.
it's not there. It's not anywhere. It's called magic.
That's
Watch
all.
FM. Fucking magic. That is
I'm gonna
unbelievable.
find it.
Oh, God.
I got My Little Pony underneath my seat. What the fuck? I got this fucking thing. What? I want that cigar.
The Fiji water is really hitting right now.
What you put in
What's going on here?
I'm pissed. It's next. I know something. This ain't funny.
Dude, it's really funny.
No, it's
actually.
not.
That is unbelievable.
Okay, next.
All right.
It's gone. It's legitimately gone.
No,
That's a fast burner you had there.
It didn't roll behind you?
No, I'm dead serious.
Is it in your seat?
Oh, God.
No. If I sat on the fuck.
There it is. There it is.
Oh, there it is.
It's in your seat.
And there you have an ass-pressed cigar.
And look at it. And it's still
God.
smoking. Right there.
I don't know if
This
that's
is
a good
better
thing.
than the beach story, ain't it? See, Nick?
So everybody really liked the Villiger. Is that
All
what
right,
you're saying?
right.
Let's get back to Villiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, to answer the question, it's Nicaraguan binder and filler.
Okay, all Nicaraguan
Can't
filler
believe-
and Connecticut shade.
Who gives
In
a
Connecticut,
shit?
Ecuador, in Connecticut, yeah.
Oh, God.
We told you this
No,
was going to
I'm
get
gonna-
interesting.
I can say one thing.
Oh, man.
How many cigars can you sit on, relight it, and taste like fucking gold?
Should we take
production
live
today-
calls on this show?
That would-
That would make it really interesting.
This has got to go in the montage.
Oh my
This
god!
segment, 4-year anniversary segment.
Oh
This
my
has
It
gotta
God.
go.
does.
I tell you, I'm
This
never
is like,
dull.
I can't believe people actually pay money for like a shrink, because this is like my therapy tooth. Like that just relieves so much stress.
Yeah.
Laughing that
Oh my
part.
God.
So I can
Shrink
say
your-
that
I could. I was pissed. This fucking cigar is smoking great.
Laughter is the best
That's not
medicine.
funny.
Oh my God.
Oh, holy
This is
shit.
a new Stogie Geeks rating. I'd sit on it and then smoke it.
No. Throw it up the boat.
It's ass worthy.
This is a press.
This is a 2 cheek cigar.
All right,
Oh,
well,
I'm telling you
bring us back. We'll talk
Holy
about your
shit,
next
I got
cigar.
2 burnt.
What do we got, Coop?
We've completely lost control.
Right.
Yeah, we lost control. This was another surprise cigar I had out of the show. It's made by Esteban Carreras. It's the Black Cross.
Black Cross. I heard about that, Coop. I'm going to hear that.
Yeah, this was a very entertaining cigar. It's a Habano wrapper over a Nicaraguan binder and filler, and I smoked a 5.5 by 46 Corona. And I'll tell you what, this cigar performed very, very well. It had a very nice tobacco flavor. I mean, it really. A lot of times, we talk about all these flavors, but this had a nice tobacco flavor. It had some pepper. It had some floral spice to it. It had some woody notes to it. The end of it got a little harsh, I'd say, each time. But in general, I'd say, that was the time to put down the cigar anyway. It burned fantastic. I mean, it was a real low maintenance cigar as far as burn wise goes.
Mm-hmm.
Medium to full in body, medium strength. It's a box split for $7. I was real impressed with this cigar.
What size did you smoke, Will?
I smoked the 5.5 by 46 Corona.
Nice.
I've smoked the Robusto, and I'd say again, the Corona is the one. They're calling it a Corona. It's almost closer to a Corona Gorda here, but very good cigar.
Black Cross.
Black Cross by
Will,
Esteban Carreras.
why don't we talk about the Avo Nicaraguan next?
Yeah,
we
I want
both
to hear
we
about
both
that.
smoked that cigar. Yeah.
I want to hear the
Okay.
the
Okay, because I had a
comparisons.
very different opinion than a lot of other reviewers of this. So,
Okay.
Interesting.
Let's see what you had to
Interesting.
say.
Why
And
don't
then
you
I'll
go
give you my
first?
opinion.
you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
Avo Nicaragua.
Yeah, so the Avo Nicaragua, I think this is the cigar. It's about to basically hit the stores. What's significant about this Avo, for what people need to know, is it's the first regular box press production of an Avo. They have done a box press for the TAA,
Gotcha.
but this is the first regular one. And then it also contains Nicaraguan in the filler. First again for regular production. The limited edition 2015 was actually the first one to do that.
Interesante.
Interesting cigar. It's a Connecticut wrapper, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, but it's not a shade one. It's got a much darker wrapper.
Desflorado.
Yeah,
Maybe?
that's what it looks like. Yeah,
Desflorado.
Dominican binder, and then it's got a combination of Peruvian, Dominican, and Ometepe in it.
Nice.
And I smoked the 5x50 Robusto. And Paul, I haven't seen what you had on this.
I'm
But-
keeping it a secret.
So
Peruvian.
Go ahead, excuse me.
it hit me. It hit me
Ometepe.
with, how sometimes a cigar will hit you with too much spice.
Sure.
This hit me with too much sweetness up front.
Huh.
And and I just felt it was like a lot. I mean, I've talked to other people, they say, but I felt the sweetness kind of really overpowered it very early on. Once the sweetness went down, I did get some of those Nicaraguan notes. I got a black coffee note from time to time. I got some cedar. I got some pepper. They were talking about this cigar being a balance between Nicaragua and Dominican. I just didn't get it from that.
I agree.
Okay, I didn't. I thought it was one.
I stick with your strengths.
Yeah.
Nicaraguan is not their forte.
No, and I felt this was a cigar that had,
Yeah,
how we say cigar can be too strong in nicotine. I felt there was too much body, and I'm going to steal this from you, Mark. It couldn't make up its mind what it wanted to do.
Exactly. It didn't have that dirt. The Nicaraguan tobacco has a dirty taste to it. You know what I mean? To me,
Yeah.
Avo does a great job in the representation of what they want to do. That I don't get.
It was a Nicaraguan that didn't smoke like a Nicaraguan for me.
Exact. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's I think a better way to put it. I mean, I gave it a 5.
I did too. I rated it the same way.
I got to try
Yeah.
one.
And I saw some ratings of this. I mean, and we
asshole.
love Scott from Avo, so I hope he's not mad. But I mean, because Avo's made some epic cigars in a lot of our books.
Right.
But I saw some ratings on this cigar. I saw one site call it the best Avo ever.
No, that's
Maybe that's someone that hasn't smoked a lot of Avos.
yeah.
Now, I
No,
will
seriously.
say,
I mean, they have the strength.
I agree. I agree.
I think there's
Intermezzo,
amazing
I love
potential
the
with this, but
Intermezzo.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a phenomenal
absolutely.
cigar. I haven't smoked the Nicaraguan
And,
yet.
and,
but-
and don't get me wrong. Give Avo a credit for going outside the box.
Absolutely.
we
You
do.
know, it's. But sometimes you stay in the box.
But it's interesting that the blend. I haven't tried the cigar yet. I'm really want to try it. But it's interesting that it's Nicaraguan, yet there's Peruvian. It doesn't seem like there's a
yeah.
predominance of Nicaraguan tobacco in it. I mean, the Ometepe is
Right.
Nicaraguan, but from what I heard, it's an interesting. The Ecuadorian.
Peruvian. Would you say Peruvian and Ometepe? And so
Peruvian
Ometepe is Nicaraguan.
Ometepe
And
is
in
the
the filler-
island
and that's
in
in
the
the filler.
south of Nicaragua.
Okay, and
and
then-
there's Piloto and San Vicente and Olor. In
Oh,
that,
wow.
that-
There's
So
an
there's a
interesting
mix of
blend
Nicaraguan
going
and
on there.
Dominican in the filler.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you have the Ecuadorian
So we go
wrapper,
back,
which is a
so we
Connecticut,
go back,
but a
we
higher
go back to
prime.
ratios.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
I mean,
asking
it's-
you, Nick. I mean, I'm not saying you to judge the cigar, but ratios have a lot to do with it. No, or am I
big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ratios have a lot to do with it. I mean, the tobacco, the country of origin, the seed variety, the primings, all of those are key factors in it. So it's interesting that it was a Connecticut. It's a Connecticut
Wrapper.
upper priming. It must be from the Desflorado type range from the plant. So they usually prime that plant, and then they leave the last priming on the top of the plant for another, I believe, week or 5 days. And then, so the rest of the energy of the plant goes to those top leaves, and that's why it's so much darker. Usually that Ecuadorian Connecticut is really golden, golden brown, that classic Connecticut shade color.
Yeah,
But
the wrapper
these upper
was much
primings
darker,
is darker, yeah.
I didn't think it was a bad cigar by any
No, I
stretch
didn't think it
of
was a
the
bad
imagination.
cigar,
No,
but
No,
but
it's a solid fiber, but I know what you're saying. Like you got like different like flavors that were just kind of like one
Fighting
was over
each other,
here,
yeah.
and like one was over
The
here.
best
kind
part,
of
it was a
thing.
bipolar cigar.
It was.
Yeah,
It,
it really
was.
was.
And I don't know. It wasn't. Some cigars are so horribly unbalanced that it just the characteristics and flavor profile are just way off. Like this one, the flavors that it had were really good, and I guess that would be unbalanced. They just really didn't work together. But I mean, it wasn't that bad of a cigar where I would say,
But-
well,
but I
it's
think we're-
unbalanced, and there were flavors in there I didn't like. Like all the flavors that he had in those leaves were really good. They just didn't necessarily
Married.
all work together with each other.
there's no
you know what I
harmony.
mean?
Your rating in the fiber, explain to me that rating, the breakdown.
By 5.
By
By
five.
five. Got it.
By five.
Got it.
It's,
Got it.
I'm going to tell you something. Stogie Geeks, to me, has the best rating because, for me, a 90 is very arbitrary. What's
Right.
90 mean? What's the difference between a 90 and 89? 90 to 88. And I'm not knocking anybody out there, but try one. A fiver, you got to get a fiver. It means you got to do the line extension.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, everybody wants to get into the
the
90
90,
of this, but in
yeah.
89 and 88 and I mean, these are fantastic.
Fantastic,
Exactly.
fantastic.
I would buy
ratings,
5
but-
of them. Like I would smoke the one I smoked. I would put the rest of the 4 down for a little while.
That's
let
what I thought,
Yeah,
Paul. That
I'd
was
let
my
one rest
reaction.
for like 6 months, and then I'd go back and I'd see if some of those flavors and characteristics change where they meld a little better together. But
Well, it's
for
probably
me,
going to age out interesting.
and
then.
a lot of that's personal
Thank
preference.
you.
But a lot of
Yeah.
that's personal
Thank
preference
you.
too.
Thank
Like
you.
I don't like fruit on my salad. Like I think the
Yeah.
fruit and it just
And the-
doesn't
and the
meld together
veggies
for
is-
me,
yeah.
and that's I don't know. That's kind of where
Well,
I'm going
and that's
with that.
the interesting thing again about ratings, and I like how you guys rate it is because, like you said about the Vitolas and trying every other line, everybody's got different. It's all personal preference in many aspects.
Right.
So you should try them for yourself because you might like them.
Before I do a cheat sheet on Paul's, I got to ask Nick this question because he's the most intelligent one in this bunch.
I don't know about that.
Oh, well,
this
I
guy's
think
pretty
so.
sharp over
No,
here.
no,
Look at
no.
this guy.
I'm sharp as a
When it
dull
comes
tag.
to tobacco, you win.
But what's your feeling on aging
Cigars.
cigars? Yes.
That's an interesting question. Aging cigars. We talked about this a little bit before. I think there's a misconception about aging cigars, that it's similar to wine and that the longer it ages, it gets better. And I think it's not always the case. Depends on what kind of tobaccos are being used in them. Some of the blends with heavier, thicker tobaccos, those might age out a little bit better. This is not this is, there's a lot of variables involved, but heavier tobaccos could age out better because they're thicker, they're heavier, and they could go, longer. Whereas if you're using a blend that a lot of Seikos, lower priming tobacco,
Right.
there's already that leaf is mild and there's not much to the leaf. So as that ages out, there could be nothing left from that cigar.
And that's what I find compelling when you mentioned 64 anniversary. I find that smoke them as you got them. Because I just don't find
They can't age out. They
age out.
They will.
quick.
They will.
They
But it's
really
another
do.
thing of personal preference. Also, is some guys,
Nicotine
Like to
level.
let them age out a little bit.
you might like them. Some guys might find that this blend, this Vitola, ages out better for them at 6 months or a
It's
year.
interesting.
And
The next cigar I'm going to talk about, it's a great segue. You just probably saw that on my
That's
screen.
why
right?
it's a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
This-
the
this-
Viaje 5050 Black Label came out. I mean, it was a powerhouse cigar when it came out. And this is like a Corona Gorda-ish size that
Yeah.
it came out in. It was a powerhouse. I didn't really like it when it first came out because it was just so overpowering. And I saw a post where someone was smoking, it might have been Andre himself, posted to Facebook and said, I'm smoking a vintage 5050 Red Label. And I'm like, well, I smoked all those a long time ago because I love that cigar. But I went back and I found the Black Label in my humidor. I was like, I want to go back and smoke one of those because I'm like, there was to your point, Nick, and your point too. Like, there was a lot of really strong tobaccos in there. I'm like, I bet you this aged pretty well. And I'll tell you what, like all that like spice and like really heavy body toned down a little bit. It was a great cigar. I rate this box worthy right now. Like these cigars right now are smoking awesome. I don't know if you have any 50/50 Black Labels
No,
left.
I don't.
You guys carried them at Mr. J's
while.
for a while, yeah.
Right. It's funny. It's the nicotine level. Where do you want to be? Some people like it right off the bat. That whack. I just don't find vintage and Viaje corresponding.
Sometimes it can be a miss, dude. Sometimes it can
too
be a
much.
hit.
It's heavy.
No, I just don't find vintage and Viaje in the same sentence.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's good or bad. That's not what I'm saying. It's a vintage to me is.
Is there a number of years you can put on vintage?
It's a good question.
It's a good question. It's just that it's a type of tobacco that you're using, and with Viaje, I don't see it.
Sometimes I think it works for them. Sometimes I go back and I smoke some of their blends from way back, and I'm like, I liked it better when it first came out, kind of thing.
And it comes, I guess maybe like LG. Let's look at LG. LG is a strong nicotine lace type cigar for me anyway.
Yeah, you're totally right on that.
LG.
Yes.
Yeah, LG.
Lido
So you
Gomez,
calm
that-
down. Now,
yeah.
to me, I can understand that vintage type
Right.
of criteria. I can see that. So if you want that nicotine level, so I guess I don't want to get too far off. But anyway, get back to your assessment.
This cigar had an earthy sweetness. I don't know how else to describe it other than like some cigars are like Will was describing the Nicaraguan as like it was overpowering in sweetness, and some cigars we describe as overpowering in earth. It blended that like earthy sweetness together, and it really came together for the cigar. I rated it a box worthy as they're smoking now.
Very
Like
cool.
if I could get my hands on a box of these, I would totally buy them because they're.
So
they're
this
smoking
isn't
great
something
now.
new. This is something that's
When
been-
you carried the, so this is when I first heard about Viaje. To go back in my smoking history, right?
he doesn't even need to speak. I can just read his face.
But I went to Mr. J's, and they had come back from a show many years ago, and they were like, "You got to try this Viaje stuff." And I was smoking the Red Label and the Black Label, and the whole thing with 50/50 was like the first half was
That's a great point, 50/50.
Yeah, remember it was the first half was one flavor characteristic, and they wanted the second half to be a different
Right,
flavor
right,
characteristic. After the cigar aged, like that
doesn't-
transition was almost kind of lost, which was kind
Yeah,
of
I
interesting.
agree. I was gonna say that.
Yeah, it kind of all blended together. But I bought them from Mr. J's when they first come in, and they were really good. He's using his words very carefully. here.
Right. Because slamming anybody is
Yeah,
not
no.
is not the right way to go. What I'm trying to say is that to see, I can understand the youngness in a cigar and a funky stage, and Nick, you understand that. I just have a hard time with Viaje.
Cigars don't get better
I
with
just-
age, right?
Yes,
Some
yes,
do.
age. Okay, what is
Some
age?
do.
I think after a year, if it's there, it's there. It's not, it's not.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
You can't take a
after
cigar
year, if
that's
you
like
can't
bad.
figure it out,
Yeah.
you
No, I
don't know
agree.
cigars.
Yeah.
That's I shouldn't put it like that.
No, I mean you're entitled to your
opinion,
assessment.
right?
Yeah.
A assessment. So, okay. So what happens with cigars that don't perform within a year? Where they go? As a retailer, I'm speaking as a retailer. After a year, where do they go? They go in clearance. You see what I'm saying? I don't mean to be an ass. I'm just saying that cigar within 6 to 8 months is not performing. You have some major problems. It's not my. It's
Oh,
not-
I understand what you're saying
You-
now.
you-
From a,
yeah,
from
like-
a, si- yeah.
You see
Cigars
what I'm
have to
saying?
perform out of the box.
yeah.
Out of the box
You
at
get
some
something
level.
extremely young, and you release it. That's not my job to
Age your
age
cigars.
it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay, and I'm not saying whoever cigar. Within a year's time, and some can perform better. I'm not saying that's not the case, but after a year, what happens? How many people?
Your consumers only have a certain amount of patience.
have
They
right?
should
that shelf life.
perform, and they should get better, if not,
Okay.
They should perform out of the box or be
right.
getting better as time gets
okay,
on.
so if
Yeah.
they perform out of the box, they're really good, and they get better. I got it. But if they perform out of the
no,
box and they
it's-
don't,
yeah.
and then a year. Does that make sense? Or am I
No, you're making perfect
I
sense.
don't know. I'm just trying to be nice. So
That's what we were
it's
thinking.
So hard.
That
So,
took a lot out of you. I understand.
It really is.
Take,
Vintage
it's
to
okay.
me,
Take a break.
so-
Take a breath. Sit on your cigar for a little longer. And we'll go back to Will, and Will's going to talk about his next cigar.
I
got another
hope I
cigar?
made sense.
Get another
I got
cigar
one
there,
more.
Will?
Try that
I got one
hatchet.
more, yeah.
Okay.
And this is I kind of don't know if you've smoked this one, Paul, but it's a Connecticut shade.
I
It's
might have,
the-
I might not have, because I actually this week, Will, the reason why I'm kind of light on my smokes is because I've been smoking some private blends for a specific company.
Yep, I know.
And I can't talk about them yet. So
Yeah, well, I've been smoking those as well.
yeah.
Yep.
Which one's that? Oh, okay.
I'll tell you after the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Monte Cristo White Vintage Connecticut. You guys there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we went. I thought.
No, we're here.
So this was, Altadas came out with a bunch of Monte Cristos around this 80th anniversary theme. So they came out with a extension to the white label, which is a different blend. The white vintage Connecticut actually is using that U.S. Connecticut shade wrapper,
Nice.
Nicaraguan binder, and a combination of Dominican, Nicaraguan, and Peruvian filler.
Ooh.
I had some inconsistencies with this cigar. I think there were times this cigar had a sourness to it.
Okay.
And I don't know if there was anything to do with the wrapper, but there were other times that sourness actually turned into a nice sweetness that you get off of Connecticut.
Sweet and sour.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a
Sounds
couple
like
of them I
Chinese.
had where I just said this thing is sour for whatever reason. But the ones that smoked, I thought smoked really, really. They were nice Connecticut's. They're mild to medium, so they're not going to be powerhouses. I don't think they're the most overly complex cigars you're going to get out of that. You'll get, some of the nice creaminess. Nothing revolutionary you're going to get out of this particular Connecticut. The one thing I'll say is if there's a nomination I have for Burn of the Year, it may be on these cigars because every one of them they just burn straight as an arrow, and I didn't have to touch them up, it seemed like. I gave it a 5.
No, you say burn or combustion?
I'm actually going to say the straightness of the burn.
Yeah.
The combustion was fine. There was no issue with the combustion there. But in terms of,
Burning construction. Good construction.
very good construction. The other thing is the factor in this, it's a $12.50 cigar too. So like I said, that's why I went 5 with it. I probably wouldn't go more. Some of those sour samples kind of red flagged me a bit. I don't know if they were young. I don't know what the reason was with that. I had about 4 of these.
I think you know if they were young or not. No?
It seemed like the sourness just overpowered us, and maybe they were. I was just trying to figure. I didn't know why a couple of these were smoking sour. 2 of them smoked sour. The other 2 smoked really good.
Okay.
Yeah, from the same lot.
And that's a great point that you make, Coop, that whatever cigar you're smoking, just don't judge it on one, you know what I mean? It's a handmade product, so.
Yeah, that's kind of why I went with that. Like I said, you're a Connecticut. That's why I was curious, Paul, if you've smoked this, because I think it may be in your wheelhouse. If it's
I haven't. I'll
smoked
give it a
on target.
try.
Yeah.
I'm always anxious to try new Connecticut's.
It's a little pricier is the only thing, but it's a like I
Do you
said.
think that Connecticut's get a bad rap?
I do. No, I definitely do.
I really do. In a
I do
sense.
too.
I really do because everyone thinks of Connecticut being mild and
Right.
bland, and I don't think that's a fair assessment.
No.
I think they get miscategorized. I don't know if they necessarily get a bad,
Yeah,
bad rap.
that's a good point, Mike.
This is not bland. It's not it's not bland at all. It's milder, but it's still got flavor.
Yeah, you gotta find that magic combination of flavor and body in a Connecticut that's not going to hit you with a lot of nicotine, and that's the ones that I like because I like to smoke cigars at any time of the day, right?
Good
so
point.
like before I eat dinner, like I'm going out to grill and the whole family's outside because we've had an awesome summer here in Rhode Island. Like I want to light up a cigar, but like I haven't eaten dinner yet, but I'm
Right.
outside grilling, so I want to have a cigar.
Right.
I want something that's going to be mild and not give me that nicotine strength and make me sick from nicotine, but give me a lot of flavor,
Yeah.
like while I'm grilling. So I'll reach for Cameroon. I think is one of the
I
the
love the
underrated
sweetness of
like
Cameroon.
wrapper. You know what I mean? Typically
the
they'll blend the
sweetness.
Cameroon to be mild in nicotine strength, but full of flavor. Connecticut shades the same way, but you got to be really selective as to which Connecticut's you choose to smoke in that situation. I turn to
That's a
my
great
favorites
point.
lately. That new wave, the new wave Connecticut from EPC.
The Reserva.
He's had a Reserva. He's had a new wave short run that have hit that mark. AJ Fernandez blended that new wave Connecticut in the Corona Gorda size
And
that
then you
hits
get
that
into
mark.
Pepin where it gets it still has that little spice behind it.
Pepin
So-
blends it with that little more of a spice, which in the morning is
Could be
I-
overwhelming.
But
I
like while
couldn't
you're
get that
grilling in the
cigar.
afternoon before dinner, you're right. That's a great choice.
That's what I love about cigars.
Yeah.
I really do. I tell you, I commend all the manufacturers. You have a cigar for every occasion.
Yes. But no, go back to Avo. I'll smoke an Avo Classic or an Avo XO like any time of day. Like it's such a versatile cigar. It always delivers flavor, and it's not going to kill you with strength either.
That's we'll go back to Nick's, where the flavor component behind it. That's the most impressive thing about the cigar. You don't have to worry about strength. It's just the flavor. We can
Yeah.
pick out all our characteristics, and probably between all four of us, we all got different opinions. Right? And there'll probably be comparison to what we want. So I'm not a big Connecticut smoker. I'm just not. It's just not my style.
Not your cup of tea.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. That's not what I'm.
Sure.
It's
Well, you can reach for.
I can reach for Connecticut in the
but
morning.
you talked about Cuban cigars too. A lot of times I'll reach for a Cuban cigar because it's not going to overpower me in strength, but it's going to have that great flavor profile. The problem is the construction wise sometimes.
Oh, that's what I
tough.
don't get.
It's
It
tough.
is. It's like a
You
waste
almost
of
want to
money.
grab like 2 or 3, and then light one up, because I have Paul syndrome, because I
Yeah,
created
you
Paul
do.
syndrome.
You
So
have.
I'll grab 2 or 3, right? And I'll be like, oh, that first one definitely didn't smoke right, and then I'll smoke the next one.
Have you smoked any Excalibur number 3s or any Connecticut shit? I haven't had one in years.
Long time.
And years,
You
but
know
that
what's
used to be
smoking
my-
right now?
Yeah.
I got some. Is the Siglo 2? I got a BTO of 2010.
Okay.
It's as much as I complain about, I have issues in the sense that I got to know the factory it's made at and the year and whatever. There's a BTO 2010.
What BTO?
That's where the factory is made at.
Okay.
As so again, you can pick your places or pick your times for your cigars. That's what I'm getting at, and I think that's what we all do. We all have that place, time, and space and time where we want to smoke it. After you get done with a heavy meal, what's better than a fuller body cigar?
Yeah.
Big steak.
Yeah.
Opus
Yeah, for
X.
me.
I reach for an Opus X.
Nice.
I reached for the Padron Family Reserve that we talked about before. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the last cigar that I had was one that we've been talking about on a lot of previous shows. Is that Davidoff Escurio?
I didn't smoke that. How was that?
The Brazilian offering. So, Will, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a 60 ring, right? Or no,
There's
58 ring,
a 58 ring.
and there's a Toro.
There's a short Robusto 3 1/4 by 50.
Okay.
A Grand Toro 5 1/2 by 58, and then there's a Robusto which is 4 1/2 by 54.
So I smoked all the sizes aside from the Robusto. I was kind of, I want to say I was underwhelmed, but when I look at the cigars I smoked from Davidoff, I was like, I don't know. And then Will's
How
like,
many
you
did
got to
you
try
smoke?
the Robusto. And I'm-
Everything but the Robusto, you said?
I smoked everything but the Robusto.
Okay.
I smoked the Robusto today. I lit it up from the first puff. I was like, this cigar has the potential for Oasis. I was like,
Oh, I had a Chuck
like,
Norris. I had that size of Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris?
But
I
not
would-
the other two sizes.
I would rate it as that is a Chuck Norris cigar. That is
In that
Are you
size.
serious?
that is a Chuck
I gotta
Norris.
try it.
It is unbelievable the range of ratings that we had in that one particular line.
But-
Every size smokes like
See,
a completely
that-
different cigar.
See, that's the point I'm getting back to. I don't mean to hammer it. I can't say enough. Please, if it's Nick's cigar, Mike's cigars, whoever's cigar, see what I'm saying? You can draw your own comparison from each Vitola. Because same with
Size
Nick's
matters,
cigars.
dude. It really.
That-
I tell
that-
you what, that Robusto is unbelievable. Now, I don't
try
think
it.
the last third of cigar necessarily overwhelmed me. I think that'll get a little better with age. I tend
Did
to
it have
find
the acid taste in most Davidos?
it had that little touch
What
of
do you
it.
taste?
Acid taste.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, ass.
Like
Well,
ass.
I never liked the ass.
You never
but I
take.
mean-
What
Como se dice?
I didn't know what he said. I thought it said acidity.
ass. Like
okay.
ass
Acid.
taste.
Okay.
Ass.
I think it's
Like a shitty
ASS-IDY. Acidity. I think is what.
Let's go with acidity. Yeah, let's,
works.
No.
Let's
ass.
let's say
ASS.
let's save Santa.
I wouldn't call it that. I would. The difference between like the first third and the last third is there's a pretty significant
You know what I'm
difference.
talking
Yeah, I
about,
know what
don't
you're talking
you?
about. The Davidoff
Seriously.
don't always finish.
They get that sour.
It didn't get totally. It was a little sour on the finish, not
It got
horrible.
it got very one-dimensional in that last
in
third.
the last third. I
But
agree
the
with
first
him.
two thirds,
What's the
I
price
thought
points
were
on them?
The first two thirds in that Robusto are out of this world. I mean,
price
not
range?
cheap.
what's the price range on the Robusto?
The
17?
Robusto's $15.90.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. This when you
But
first
no, in that
it's
size,
unbelievable when you first light up a cigar. Like from the first puff, I was like, what? Like it totally captivated my attention. Like I
Nice.
was trying to work, and I lit it up, and I was like, I can't even pay attention to anything else right now. Like it totally sucked me in from that first puff, and I'm like,
That's a
wow,
good cigar
That's
right
a
there.
good cigar. That's a good.
It-
it
We
was-
talking
That-
Matafina? What-
It's a Brazil. It's their Brazilian offering.
Okay.
Yeah, so what it's got, Nick, is it's actually a Habano Ecuador wrapper. It's got a Brazilian Cubra binder. And then
Cubra.
it's got Cubra and Matafina Brazilian in the filler.
Wow.
And Dominican, it's got San Vicente, Piloto, and Olo.
In those other sizes, it's okay. Like do they call it a short Corona in that
Short,
small?
they call it a short Robusto.
I mean, they make a
Cubra,
tiny. I
yeah.
mean, tiny size in that short Robusto.
It
And
never
it's
got
good.
going.
But it's almost like there's not enough tobacco for it to really come into its own, so to speak.
It's a small Robusto.
And then in the Toro, in the 58 ring, it's good. I mean, it's a good cigar. But the Robusto, I mean, they knocked it out of the park with the blend.
Dick, do you find it's a tougher, I'll rephrase that. Is it a more challenge to blend a cigar in a smaller ring gauge?
Definitely. Definitely.
In the Lancero, too. It's
Yeah. You're just dealing with
the
much
smaller-
less tobacco.
You got to
So
make
have to-
some tough decisions as to what filler you put in,
Correct.
right?
And you have to be very careful of how, on the production floor also, how that tobacco is distributed. Because, when they're bunching, it depends on what bunching style people use. There's different styles. But when you're breaking off the tobacco, because the leaf is long like this and you're bunching
Placement,
it,
yeah.
that placement becomes a lot more delicate.
So between first third, second third, and final third.
Yeah, where you place that tobacco,
Yep.
you can,
Right.
So it's not just the ratio of filler; it's the placement.
it's the placement is
Oh,
key.
absolutely.
And that could be delicate based on how the control is on the floor. Because you see cigars that start off, a lot more strength, and then they, tend to go down in strength a little bit. That's all because of the placement of those leaves.
And you think that has a little bit to do with aging?
What do you mean? As far as
What I'm trying to say is that the nicotine level of where you're putting the leaf, or not so much the primings. What I'm trying to say is when the aging of the cigar and placement of the leaf, how does that correspond with aging of a cigar?
aging of the finished cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, depending on if you're making the blend and you have, say, Viso or Ligeros, and
Right.
you take that leaf and you put it in the foot of the cigar.
Right.
I mean, that cigar's you're gonna have double that tobacco at the foot.
Right.
So aging, that would take a little bit more time to age out and sort of marry with the rest of the blend.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Good.
I find some cigars that are really well aged, the first third can tend to be amazing. Mm-hmm. Like that first third really wows me. I find other cigars where like I get to that final third and it's kind of so-so, and it's kind of like a 50-50 shot. Like sometimes I'll age that cigar for 6 months or a year, and then it'll finish a lot better. But that's more the exception rather than the rule. That first third I always find, like it was Pete Johnson actually posted that he had some original Opus X tobacco cigars. Did you see that post from Pete? And it had his name on the cellophane and stuff like that.
Nice.
And he's like, these are original Opus X. And I was trying to ask him, like, so what did you think of it? And I don't know if he didn't want to give his opinion or he had a lot of comments on that post. So,
You got to be careful what you say.
yeah, but exactly. But when Mark Jr. and I smoked some original Opus X blends that he had in his humidor, and I found that, like, the first third was just so amazing, and then you got in the second and the final third, and it was just okay.
That's going back to what was said.
yeah, that very.
So it's like where
You could have heavier stuff in the foot,
In the
and
foot,
that
I gotcha.
aged out better
I gotcha.
because there was more stronger tobaccos in the foot, and then you got down in the cigar and there was less of the strong.
Yeah.
And when you get to the really thinner ring gauge cigars, that becomes a lot more delicate, is what.
definitely.
Right,
I think that's probably-
and that's a great point. See, this is what on a closing note, right there. That's where I don't know if aging so much to where placement is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know as much as
in a
Nick.
smaller ring, if you take out some of the stronger tobaccos to get into that smaller ring, they could age differently than a larger ring gauge.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
And I
interesting.
think that's why a lot of companies have probably had challenges with Lanceros in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you got to be. I've talked about doing a Lancero. I actually was talking to you earlier today about it, and I think you have to be very confident in your factory, as you mentioned
Definitely.
before.
Yep.
Yeah, and the skill, and you got to find the right pairs that are
Right.
able and skilled to
And
handle
when it
that.
exactly, you're talking about a human component
Yeah.
that's so. Name
Right.
Name
and it's
another
a monotonous job too.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's where quality control is very important to sort of make sure you're doing the same thing all day. So
and that's not gonna. A human element is not going to be the same thing.
no,
It's just not.
No, it's a handmade. It's not coming off a machine.
That's
So-
it. If you want.
Hey, Will, do you have a question?
Yeah, sure. How
That
do
we
we?
could
was-
give
I was
away
wi-
some cigars.
How would we get Nick and Mike's
Yeah,
cigars?
so I want to transition to our contest. So I made a little change to our contest. We've got sample packs from a lot of our sponsors that are numbered with the episode number. So I'm holding a Saga Cigar sampler pack that says episode 153 on it. So I want to
we
give
bo-
this away to a lucky listener.
Yeah, we put Bovita packs in them too, so they're nice and sealed and humidified.
I had one of our production assistants put fresh Bovita packs in all of our
Yep.
contest giveaways, and they're here in studios.
What's
We're a little more formal.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more formal about giving away
I
cigars.
have
So
Production people.
5 cigars left in this box.
we have a bag
gonna-
that could go with
I'm going to
Bovita packs
give
in
these
there.
away. This is pre-release.
No, you don't have 5 anymore.
I'll put the box in too, so you can
You
give
got
the
5
box.
left in that one. You just
You
don't know
can
it
give
yet.
these are
I think you're sitting on 5 of them. So
these
yeah.
are and
So-
this is a box. It doesn't even have the guarantee seal or the rest of it in there. So
That's
this
right.
will be one of those special.
All right.
Wow.
So we need
Be
two.
lucky.
Will, we need 2 contest questions.
Yeah.
And 3 of these things.
All
are-
right,
How
you got a sticker
long-
in here too.
So I got
Wow.
a sampler pack of Saga cigars, which
Right.
includes a full line sampler of Saga cigars and a cutter. I think there's a cutter in there. It's in a humidified pack. We're going to give this away. And Nick has been very generous. He's going to give away one of his gorgeous boxes.
Look at
And
that.
5 Corona Gorda cigars.
Yes.
Are we throwing T-shirts in there too?
Yeah, and we're going to put a Stogie Geeks
And
Smoke Naked
I'll
t-shirt.
take my shirt off.
Please
I,
don't.
And a
I
Stogie
need a
Santa.
t-shirt. I need a Stogie Geeks t-shirt.
We're going to
so I
get
can
you some
rock
Stogie
it.
Geeks Smoke Naked t-shirts. Don't worry,
right.
Nick.
Okay, so remember, if this is for the live audience, but if we don't get a winner, or if you're listening to replay, send in because you could win.
Can
We've
the
had-
panel win?
let's put it like this: I'm still waiting to win.
Me too.
All right, so Will, for the Saga cigars, what do you got?
I don't.
Let's go back to
There
the
was-
next
okay,
interview. Yeah.
Let's go back to the next interview. All right, I'll throw one out there, and you can reject it. There was, well, no, that's not a good question, because we may have said that off the air.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one.
How does
All
this
right,
work?
so I got one. Will. I got.
Santa
Okay.
All
got
right,
when he
so
took his
for
clothes
Nick's
off.
for Nick's cigars, name all the sizes that Nick is producing in his cigars.
Okay.
What's the sizes? Name all the sizes.
That's
Give us the sizes.
not that hard.
No, it's not.
I have to give all the sizes?
No, not
Oh.
you. The listeners have to send us email.
Okay.
That's easy. They can just look it up on the.
They can
Okay.
just watch the show. That's the whole point.
No,
right?
let's just
okay.
do something where we could do something easy, and then that's too easy.
That's too easy. Okay. Well, you come up with a question then.
You want me to say which
Where was
size?
Santa's cigar when he finally found it?
How
How far was it wedged?
That's
All right, never mind. I'll
That's a
keep
good
my
one.
mouth shut.
All right, so we'll make it easy for Nick's the gorgeous box and 5 cigars. What sizes is Nick's making his cigars in? Send us all of those sizes
Yep.
in an email to the show at StogieGeeks.com. For the Saga sampler for episode 153, the prize pack, where was Stogie Santa cigar during the Stogie Geeks Stogies of the Week?
There
That's,
you go.
that's a good one.
That's a
Where
good-
was his cigar? You get the
Yeah.
Saga. So the show at StogieGeeks.com, there's 2 giveaways.
Yep.
1, tell us what sizes, and you get Nick's cigars. 2, where was Stogie Santa's cigar? Where did he find it for the Saga 5-pack?
think-
How's that?
That's a good one.
How's that?
Oh well.
We're gonna have answers. We're gonna have answers.
And with both of those
is up his
giveaways,
ass. That's number
make
one.
sure you include your T-shirt size. We're going to give you a Stogie Geeks Smoke Naked T-shirt with that as well. I'll also, if you qualify, if you win the Saga, I'm going to give you a Saga Cigars hat. They're actually really nice hats.
Oh, I got
They're
one.
black with the gold
They're
embossing.
cool hats.
They're
You got those
really
here?
awesome. They're really, yeah, I do. I'll give you one.
All right,
They're awesome hats.
I'll rock
So we'll give
that.
you a hat with that as well. So
great cigars too. Yeah, they're
if
really
you
good.
listen to Stogie Geeks, you win stuff.
It's got a great restaurant name.
that's
Santa,
really.
too.
What's that?
His
Did you
restaurant
ever
in
give him the
Santiago's
5?
great,
Oh,
too.
here we did
Yeah.
the 5 questions, right?
He did it, yeah, previously.
I
In,
did.
in the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
First.
First.
You know,
There
Stogie
go.
Santa's never answered the 5
Would you
questions.
go
We gotta
first
ask
or
him to-
second, Stogie Santa?
I would go at least number 1, baby. I don't want sloppy seconds.
Now, I think we should, with that question in particular, you should ask for a follow-up question of why did you pick that?
Yeah, that's right.
Because that
We
would
leave
be
it as a
interesting.
mystery.
Yeah.
You know?
There's nothing.
What's number 2
seconds,
again?
Segundos. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't work.
Did we ever figure out how the cigar got on the chair?
No.
No.
I have no idea. Some asshole put it
It was
there.
a magical one.
It is. I had it. Look, I got a burn mark here, and I got a burn mark here.
He's got 2.
Like my
Now, do you have a
grandfather-
burn mark in your
You're like
ass,
my
though? Is there a
grandfather.
burn mark on your
I
shirt?
have no idea.
Because you got nice, like, Jay Grotto shirts. You guys are looking all stylish in the store. Did you burn your shirt? On the back? Where you sat on it, dude.
I don't know.
Did you sat on it? Let's see your ass.
Oh gosh.
Please don't.
Doesn't
no.
It doesn't?
No,
it
this
doesn't
is-
look that way.
There's
You're
a
good.
burn mark
This
in
is
the
not.
chair.
This is not helping your gay remark.
It's okay. I'm fine with gay.
I was just remembering one of the cigars that I tried that I really liked. Fuma de Amor. Have
Only
you guys
a
tried
month
Fuma de
later,
Amor?
Nick.
Yeah, sorry.
We're
I-
trying
it
to
took
end
me
the
a while.
show, and
But I had to say it because I was
Oh,
smoking
great
one of
cigar.
those.
Dude, I'm
the
62,
Lanceros
you're
and those-
not.
Yeah, but I'm close.
Great cigar.
I feel like I've lived 50 years over the past 10 years.
well,
the amount of
thank you
work
very
that
much
you've done,
to
God
Nick for
bless you.
making the trek down in the studio. It was
Ain't
great
that
having
the
you in the
truth?
studio.
Thanks,
Mike
Mike.
having me,
Pilati,
guys.
MLB Cigars was here with us. Stogie Santa, of course, as always.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the Stogie Geek Show. We'll see everyone next week.